Hello and welcome to another episode of Mole Thoughts. My name is ChaosMole and today we have a look at Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew. If you don't know how my review process works, let me explain that very quickly. I'm not giving out any arbitrary numbers at the end of the video because nobody can agree on that anyways. What I'm doing is I'm explaining to you how the game works, what you were doing here, what you can expect, how I liked the game, what I didn't like about the game, and then hopefully at the end of the video you can make your own decision if you want to spend money on this game, if you want to wait for a sale, or if you never want to touch it. Now with that said, let's jump into Shadow Gambit. This is the newest game by MIMIMI Games, who is a German studio who also made Shadow Tactics, Blade of the Shogun, and last but not least, Desperados 3. And yes, I have played both games. Actually, I have finished Shadow Tactics. I haven't finished Desperados 3, unfortunately, but I'm actually rather glad that they are now going back to their own IP with Shadow Gambit, because you can really feel how they are putting like a lot of love into this game. Funny enough, speaking of Shadow Tactics, there is actually a character from Shadow Tactics in Shadow Gambit you can take with you on missions. They also have the same voice actor. It's great. But what is Shadow Gambit? Well, Shadow Gambit is a real-time strategy stealth game where you are trying to infiltrate enemy bases against tons of enemies, and you try not to be discovered. Then you're doing your mission there. Then you are trying to escape, and that's basically it. I know this is like a very, very TLDR explanation on what the hell is going on, but that is basically how this game works. And if you have played like the old Commando series, you know what to expect here. As I said, if you have played any of the previous MIMIMI games, you know exactly what you can expect from this game. But they evolved. First things first, they have evolved in graphics, music is amazing, the voice acting is really good. I love now that you are on the ship outside of your missions where you can talk to your other pirates. You can actually talk to the ship because the ship is sentient. And you can prepare in training. You can also do some story missions. Like there is now much more stuff to do outside of your standard missions you are running. And in general, because you are on a ship, you now have the freedom to actually choose where you want to go next and which mission you want to do next. So that is a lot of extra freedom they have now added to the game. Speaking of freedom and speaking about your crew, the crew is now super duper important. I know in the previous games there have been that too, but there is a huge difference here because this time you choose your crew. When you start the game, your crew is dead. And I don't mean undead. They are all cursed, right? And undead and all that. But no, I mean literally dead. And what you have to do is you have to collect black pearls. You have to infuse them with magic. And if you have done so, you can choose one of the dead crew members to reanimate. And every crew member is good at something. Right? They're good in subterfuge. They are more head-on. They love to be spies, and so on and so forth, right? Like there are tons of different crew members who all have tons of different abilities and who will completely change your approach on the mission. So it is up to you to decide, okay, who do I want? Who mixes with the playstyle I'm trying to follow here? And I think you have like about 10 crew members, if I'm not completely wrong about that. And as I said, you are not forced to actually go with specific crew members. At the beginning, you don't really have a lot of choice, right? And you have to deal with the crew members you have. But later on, you're completely free to just swap out your crew members for the mission and take the people with you want to, which is really cool. But let's talk about the missions. As I said, the missions are rather, well, not open world, but you can now choose like which mission you want to do in which order. And that also means that you are coming back to an island multiple times for different missions. And I know what you immediately think, oh, that's rather repetitive, isn't it? Yes, but no. Because the mission you are playing is playing on a specific part of the island, and the rest of the island is of no interest to you. Yes, you can go there, but it doesn't really make any sense because you don't get anything out of it. There are no bonuses. There are no like hidden secrets you can gain. Like it's really just do your mission in this area of the map, leave, return for another mission at some point, which will then send you to another area of the island. And this is how they're not really making it feel too repetitive, because you will always see different parts of the island and they will change drastically on how you have to approach things. Even cooler than that is the idea that some of the islands are actually sentient. They can help you, well, they can work against you to a certain degree. And I think that's a pretty cool flavor they have added to the game. Like sometimes you don't even know what your mission is because the island is telling you when you arrive. And so there's a little bit of a randomness or unpreparedness to starting out a mission. But I think the biggest cool thing about this game are the crew members. The crew members are just fantastic. Like, they are new. Everyone has their own really cool abilities which make all sense in a certain area. And there isn't anything where you would say, oh man, this character is completely OP. I need this person with me at all the time. It's more like, okay, what makes sense to me for the mission I'm going for, and what makes sense for me for playstyle. And to make something clear, the abilities you see here also in the background are completely OP, right? There is Reginald. No, wait. His name is John? His name is John. Reginald is the fish. I always mix them up. So Reginald is the half-eaten fish he has. But he has the ability to use his anchor and to go underground. He is completely invisible and invincible for the meantime. And he can just insta-kill anyone who is getting into range. And he also makes the body disappear. And you immediately think, holy shit, that is super OP. And the answer is, not really. It has restrictions. First, it has a cooldown. Second, the kill time, like the whole animation playing, takes super long, and a lot of enemies can see it happening, right? That is a problem. Third, you are now at the position where the enemy was, which can also be quite a disadvantage. And last but not least, it is restricted to the ground level you are on. So that means you are on a certain level of the game and you see an enemy up a tower, you cannot just teleport up there with that ability. Or let's say the enemy is below you, you cannot just teleport down there. You have to be on the same ground level for this ability. The same goes for the pirate lady. I always forget her name. I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry. Ira, I think is her name. And she has the ability, you see it sometimes here in the background, right? When I'm teleporting immediately to an enemy and stab them, I can also teleport to positions without there being an enemy. And you think immediately, holy shit, that's OP. Well, yes, till you realize you need a clear line of sight. If you do not have the line of sight, you cannot do it. It just doesn't work. So again, like every crazy cool ability has some restriction to it, which then again balance the whole game flow again. But it feels so good. Like of all the MIMIMI games, I think this is the best game when it comes to like abilities, because they're just completely turning it up to 11. It just feels amazing to use your characters and do your thing. But regardless of that, also the enemies have learned some new tricks. Like there is the what's the name? Is it the procrastinator? Protestinator? I always forget what they are exactly called. The monk dudes. And they are pretty insane because they can feel your evil intent and you cannot directly attack them. So what you have to do is you have to find a way to use the surroundings for your advantage to actually murder them. Or you have to rather sacrifice one of your people so that they're focusing on one of your crew members while you are sneaking up to them with another attack, but that costs you health, right? So it's a very, very dangerous thing to do, especially when you are playing on the higher difficulty. And again, like, all the enemies have some cool new tricks. You meet new enemies throughout the game, and it gets harder. Like, your abilities still stay strong throughout the game, but it definitely gets harder over time. And your best advantage is still to play it like you have played it before, like a puzzle game, right? You're coming into an area, you see all the guards standing around, and you are checking what their field of view is. Because if you have never played this game, thankfully all the guards are short-sighted. So they have a very limited field of view, and you have to use that for your advantage. And yes, quick loading and quick saving is your best friend. You do it very often, and the game is still remembering you. You can actually say, like, at which time the game is remembering you that you haven't saved for a while, and you should do that. Like, again, if you have played any of the other MIMIMI games before, you will definitely be in familiar waters here when you are playing this game. Excuse the pun, that was unintended. But for all the new players, if you're wondering which game you should start with from the 3 games they made, it is this one. They have learned so much over the years and have refined this genre over the years that, in my opinion, they are now the kings and queens of the real-time strategy sneaking genre. Because, again, they have now so many cool stuff and little details in there, and yes, the developers are in the game, you can murder them, that you really feel like this is their best game yet. And I know what you might think, oh, Mo, but it's a pirate theme. Try to look past that. I'm also not the biggest fan of pirates, I admit it, but they do it so well that I haven't really noticed it since I've now been playing it for a few days. So I highly recommend the game. Now you might ask, is there anything negative you have to say about the game? Yes. Unfortunately, there's one thing, and it's not even gameplay. I haven't really anything bad to say about the gameplay. There aren't really any bugs or glitches. There was this one moment where the guard was like being pushed away and then pushed into like another field cone or something like that. That happens once, not really noteworthy. But the one thing I have to mention, unfortunately, is no accessibility options. And I'm green colorblind. And all the enemies are red, and there's a lot of green on the island. And I had multiple moments where I didn't see the guards. They were just standing in front of like green, lush flora, right? And they have just those red clothes on, and my brain was like, there's nothing there. Move on. And then, of course, the guard was homing in on me and was like, huh? Enemy? Right? And I was like, huh? Guard? Right? And unfortunately, there are no accessibility options. None. Not even a little bit. And I'm hoping they will fix that over time, but it happened quite a bit in the game to me that I didn't see a guard because of my red-green colorblindness, which is really, really unfortunate when that happens, and it's a bit frustrating, to say the least. But beyond that, if I don't have that problem, I have nothing bad to say about this game. Now, would I recommend this game for everyone? Well, no, it is a very specific genre. It's a real-time strategy stealth genre. Going in guns blazing will most of the time not work and will spell the doom of you. So you have to be sneaky and you have to be open to solve puzzles, which is, when do I take out an enemy? Where do I take out the enemy? How do I do that? Right? And this is how you play those games. If you love those type of games, this game is amazing. I highly recommend it. It is just freaking good. Like the graphics, the voice acting, the animations, like everything is just top notch in this game. And I cannot recommend it enough. Yes, even as a prize title it is right now, it is really, really good. So if you enjoyed what you have seen, if it sounds interesting and this is up your alley, definitely check it out. It is on Steam and other platforms, and if I am not completely mistaken, which hopefully I'm not, there is a demo available. Yes, there is a demo available. Check out that demo. Like, seriously. That's the best thing you can do, right? So check out the demo. I really enjoyed it, the full game, and I can, even for that price tag, yes, I highly recommend this game. Absolutely. But that was it from me, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. We are completely focusing here on strategy games, which is RTS games like Shadow Gambit, management games, city building games, like everything which has something to do with strategy will end up on the Mole Under Management channel. So if you enjoy those things, don't forget to leave a subscription. I will see you next time. Stay safe, and most importantly, right now, where I'm at, stay hydrated because it is far too warm. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe.